can do anything that we wanna do. Long as you got me, and I know I got you. We a team. No in between.
Welcome, my good friend Deb.
Hi.
How I love you.
Oh, how I love you back so much.
I think how we met is how we should start. This was a fix-up.
Yeah, it totally was. It was like a blind date.
It was.
Yeah.
So I had a client. She kept telling me about this awesome woman. You have to meet her. And I was like, noise. Like I had so much going on.
Yeah.
There's no way. Probably 2 years later, I was doing a panel in nonprofits in New York, so I invited you to speak.
Yeah.
And it was like love at first sight.
It was.
really was.
And we stayed in love, which is gorgeous.
I know. You've got a store that is on West 25th Street, so just tell us a little bit about that.
So I have 3 businesses all under one roof, which is amazing. I have a French-themed boutique called Noir et Blanc that I opened 36 years ago on September 5th. I have a charity called Hearts of Gold that started 31 years ago, and that charity supports homeless moms and kids in shelters. And then I have a thrift vintage store, and the thrift vintage store feeds the charity.
So people are making donations when they drop clothes off, and it's like Gap to Gucci, which I love.
Gap to Gucci is our tagline.
Exactly. So when you make a donation, you're getting a write-off,
Yes.
but then all of the sales of that end up
Yeah.
going to help women and children in the shelters, which
Yeah.
is awesome. So you're at 40 West 25th Street.
We are indeed.
So anybody that has great clothes,
Yeah.
men's and women's.
Men's and women's accessories,
Right.
small decor items, houseware.
You have so many different programs, which I want people to go to the website to learn about. But at Christmas, that was another way that you kind of got me. How many presents do you end up wrapping and bringing to children in the shelters?
Over
in New York City?
8,000.
8,000
Over
presents.
8,000 individual
Right.
gifts.
So it's like Santa's workshop,
Yeah,
because
it is.
anybody that wants to do a holiday give back should really show up, wrap some presents,
Yeah.
donate money,
Yeah.
because they're then delivered to women and children in the shelters. And it is so meaningful, and it's a way to give back in addition to your life of running a store as a small business
Yeah.
owner. Who were your models for this? Because you give back in so many ways.
Yeah, my mom and dad were really like so instrumental in who I've become, and I didn't even know it back then because I was like, oh, do we really have to do that as well? So, for example, we would all drive back home, except in the 70s, winter it snowed. So
When it actually used to
snow.
be winter and
That's
snow.
right. There used to be a season called winter when it
Yes,
snowed.
children. It used to snow in the winter here in New York City.
So my dad would be driving home, and my brother and I would be looking at each other like going, he's gonna stop, because somebody invariably would be on the side of the road with no, broken down car or whatever.
Right.
And my dad would be the only driver. It always made me
Right.
so crazy. That would stop and say, do you need help?
Right.
And so one evening, this gentleman lived in Connecticut, an elderly gentleman who was stuck. My dad literally brought him home, and me and my brother had to sleep in the same bed so that man could sleep in my bed because he couldn't get home to Connecticut.
Right.
So when my dad called his daughter to say, I have your dad here, you can imagine
I
that
was holding
conversation.
him hostage. Right. I'm holding your dad.
You can imagine that conversation. She was like, and what? Who are these people?
What's the safe word?
Yeah, exactly.
So this is where we're kind of like sisters from another mother, because you think about your dad and all of the cars that are driving by that
Yeah.
car that's stuck, and no one's stopping, but he does.
Yeah.
But that's how I see you. Your parents were modeling that behavior from young.
Yeah, my mom used to bring everybody home from church. Anybody who needed a meal, my mom used to cook like she cooked for the U.S. Army. And I would say, Mom,
Right.
they're all not coming. She goes, well, you never know. It was never taught to me. It was just lived. I went by lived example,
Right.
and I didn't realize I was absorbing all that as I lived my daily life.
Right.
So there was no preaching.
Do you find your mother or your father, all of a sudden you're doing something and say, wow, like you feel them in you? Because when I would go through a toll booth, I would think of my mother, even now, even when I'm going through with my, with the Easy Pass, my mother would get to a toll, she would stop, I would die of embarrassment, and she would say, how are you today? How are you doing? She would just acknowledge this person.
That they existed.
Exactly.
Yeah. I got a call one evening from one of the moms, and she had been a domestic violence victim, and I had gotten her moved into this apartment in the Bronx. So she called me and she said, the door isn't closing really properly and I'm a little nervous. And it was like 9 o'clock at night. I said, all right, push something against it and, I'm going to send someone to fix it.
In the morning.
So in the morning.
Right.
So I called my dad and I'm like, Dad, one of my moms, I tell him the story and he's like, okay. And he said, yes, I'll go tomorrow. And I get a call from Laura 40 minutes later, and she's like, Auntie, there's some man beating at my door and saying he's your father. So I'm not sure. I said, that's because it is my father. So I said, it's my dad. So she said, really? I said, yeah, let him in. It's okay. Just ask him what's his name through the door. So she asked him what's his name. He said, Kessner. I said, yeah, it's my dad. So she lets him in, and he was there until midnight fixing that door because there were no hardware stores open. So he had to jimmy and do and whatever. And he did not leave there until that door was safe. I find myself getting a call saying we have mice. I am petrified of mice. Like, I won't even be in the same country as mice, but I'm in somebody's apartment because they said mice were in the baby's crib. And I'm like, okay, well, we have to stop the mice. I get there with steel wool, and I'm on my knees, and I'm praying to God, and my mouse does not jump out, but I'm plugging that hole for that night because somehow, because she has mice, the baby, I can't sleep.
Right.
And so that's it's just like flowed through my veins.
Right, it flows through your veins.
Yeah.
But that's just so cool. Not everybody does this.
Let me tell you something.
Your family did it, you do it. When we're here at Thanksgiving, anybody that does not have a place to go sits at my, it used to be bigger, sits at my Thanksgiving Day, it's, whether I'm here, wherever I am. But I learned that from my mother.
I did.
We always had strangers. I didn't know who these people were.
Yep.
We had our family, but we also had whoever did not have a place to go, had a place at our table.
Well, I went to NYU, and there were a lot of like European students who were, couldn't go home for whatever.
Of course.
Or the holiday didn't matter. Nobody celebrates Thanksgiving. So we would take the train. I have pictures of me taking these French kids on the train up to the Bronx to my mom. The basement was full of people. And I have families who still call me today on Thanksgiving. They go, because of your mom. She would say, if you have a loaf of bread, just because you can eat it doesn't mean you should. Like, in sharing, you will be full way before that loaf of bread is finished.
They live inside of you,
Yeah,
and both of your parents have passed, and your mom died in church.
She literally placed her head calmly on the table with her hands folded and went to sleep, and she never woke up.
Right in church.
That was just her perfect place to be, to die. She just was such a spiritual person and lived her life like that, and for her to die in church, once I was able to deal with some of my grief and realize that she went the way she wanted to go.
Right.
And that was what a gift.
Yep.
What happened to my mom? She disappeared from my life in such a crazy way. I spoke to her at 8 o'clock. She was going to church, and then she calls me when she comes back from church, and there was no call.
Right.
And so every night at 8 o'clock or 7:30, I would be so burdened. I would sit, I would cry, and I had 2 babies, right? And my husband lived in Atlanta. I didn't even know how I was going to go on. I was like, I don't have enough information to raise the 2 of you. Like, my mother just disappeared. I don't know.
I know, but the cool thing is, and I'm going to cry, is that all of those things are there.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just like you, speaking about kids. So I was having dinner. I knew your son worked there. And sure enough, I see his beautiful face. And he's full of light. He's full of your light. And so he's wandering around, and I see your little shuffle. Like the way I saw in his eyes, I saw you. So, I know. And I was saying, I said, this is so terrible. I said, I see your mother in you. And a lot of guys would be like, he said, that is the most beautiful compliment. I was like, you were such a man. I know, those are my
kids, they do that.
Right.
I live my life on autopilot. That needs fixing, I go fix it. That needs happening. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about what it is and whether I can or not. I just go. I just go and I do. And so when my kids go and do, and I marvel at it, they're like, what are you talking about? You would do the same thing. That's who you are. You know what I mean? Never preached to them either. I just lived my life and modeled the behavior. They saw it, and now my older son is on the board of Hearts of Gold. And so it's a great thing, and it also is a message to watch what you model for your kids.
Right, 100%. How do you find, because it's important to take care of yourself. You and I run ourselves, seemingly ragged, although it fills my heart. I'm so busy and I love doing what I'm doing. But there's that fine line between saying, I know I can do this, I can do it in my sleep backwards, but should I? Is it good for me? There's an abyss of people that need help, especially in the shelters.
Well, for me, I learned really early on in my career that what the burnout factor was, because I was always in retail and I was modeling and I was doing 75 jobs at the same time and I knew when I would hit my limit, and one specific thing used to happen, I would lose my keys. And whenever I couldn't find my keys, I would know that myself was saying, you need to just stop. We're not letting you open anything else. Stop.
Okay.
And it always happened, and I always thought, I'm on burnout mode, and I would take time off. Kind of fashioned my life off of making sure I take at least 2 big breaks a year. I go back to family, and I make sure I take time off with my husband.
And you've been married for how long?
And we've been married for 35 years. Oh my God, September 22nd was 35 years. My husband is like my dad. He just is as cool as cucumber, even keel, always the same. And I'm a lunatic, and it doesn't affect him though. He doesn't,
Right.
he's like, do what you need to do. I'm here, and that is very reassuring, and it allows you to do what you need to do.
Well, you're a person that lives by their word, and you always show up. You always show up for people.
I believe in that.
I see you show up for people in big and small ways. Many of the people you're helping, you help them get out of a shelter. You're helping them. You have a job training program as part of Hearts of Gold and the store. It's not just like, let me bring you a meal, let me bring you a Tonka toy at Christmas. You're really helping navigate them. This is something that I've struggled with many of the nonprofits that I've worked with, where you feel like you've helped somebody and they're making all this headway and they're doing good, then they just crash and burn.
They hit a brick wall. Yeah.
Or fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that must have happened over and over for you.
So many times.
So how do you keep your sense of hope and keep going and trying to believe in people and helping them help themselves?
Because I believe in the train story. Like, life's a train ride, and you get on at one stop, and not all the people who get on with you are going to go with you to the end. So what is your purpose? So if somebody's going to go 2 rides, 2 stations, it's a very different conversation than you find yourself getting to know someone as you take this journey and getting off at the same place. So for me, I'm just like, okay, I guess I was meant to be here in your life for this time, and that's fine. I've done it. I'm moving on. Because I'm very clear about not trying to drag people kicking and screaming through their lives. It's like, I'm here and I will help you. And if you fall down in that course, I'll pick you up.
Right.
But I'm not dragging, I'm not trying to make you do this thing.
Right.
Because then you're burning yourself out, you're not helping them, and there are other people who need the help and are willing to go along. I am able to say, I'm done. I'm done with this. I've tried it and I'm good.
What's your superpower?
I would like to think that my superpower is making people realize how much they matter. Because I found that to be the biggest problem for the demographic that I work with. Somebody told them a long time ago that they didn't matter, that they have no reason to be here. There's somebody there to say, you have value and God put you here for a reason, like you belong here. That's a game changer for a lot of people.
Right.
People need to be acknowledged. They need to know that they are, first of all, they're not alone going through everything they're going through, because each of us is going through something.
Right.
I don't care how many billions you have in the bank or how many pennies you don't have. When I was a child, I had an aunt who was my evil aunt, who had told me when I was 10 that I would be nothing, my mom came from nothing, my dad came from wealth. There's a whole thing with the families. But she told me I'd be nothing, and she said I'd be on the street and I would have 13 kids and I wouldn't know who the fathers were. And I just wondered what I did as a 10-year-old that could make you as a grown-up say that to me.
Yeah, what happened to her?
But I realized at some point that I've been living everything to prove her wrong. Like I don't know why that 10-year-old knew to say that will not be my life. I made sure it wasn't my life. And every time I do something or I see these moms, I go, you know what? Somebody else told me I was worthless and I wasn't gonna be anything and I was gonna fail. That's where my fight came from.
Right.
I'm gonna show you that I'm not.
Well, what are you most proud of? I mean, do you pat yourself on the back and say, look at all I've accomplished on Christmas Day when the 8,000th
gift
toy
has been
gets
wrapped?
Yeah.
You know what happens to me? My heart gets full. Like Christmas.
But you let it in?
I do. Oh, I feel it. I feel
good.
it.
Good.
It's way before Christmas. I always say by the time Christmas comes, it's almost
so exhausted.
anticlimactic.
I know.
Because I've done Christmas.
I know.
And I'm so like, oh my God, all the kids. And that's my Christmas. And then of course, the cherry on top is that I have my family and that we're doing this. But I don't do it all the time just because I don't even think about it. I'm just too busy going.
Right.
But every once in a while, somebody will say something to me and I go, we got it done. Yes. I now in my older age, remember to say every day, you woke me up, so I'm going to go do the work. So thank you for that. Like you woke me up. I'm here to do the work another day.
Any day above ground is a good day.
Is a good day.
Right.
Any day above ground is a good day.
Right. Hope you let in not only the Christmas presents and the food and all of the things that you give to so many, but I hope that you let in how many people love you, really love you. like really, really love you. It's
I-
not just your family,
Yeah.
and it's not just your inner circle, but you've got so many people whose lives
That
you've
keeps me
touched.
warm. That gives
I mean,
me a
you
lot of
know it.
warmth.
You need
Yeah.
to let that in, because
Yeah.
that's the truth.
Yeah.
And the reality, not just the truth, the reality. So, and one of your biggest fans is me.
I love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much for coming here, because I know you had to like run over here in the middle of your day.
Love you,
I
man.
love you.